Hey, this is Alex Albrand. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the #1 secret to success. I know that's a bit cheesy, but give me some time to elaborate. As most entrepreneurs, and specifically the #1 secret to success for business owners, for leaders and entrepreneurs, because I feel like a lot of people that get into business, they do so because maybe they didn't grow up with a lot of money and they're naturally hungry. They have the drive, the ambition to go out and get it. They want more. They want more of a house. They want more cars. They want more of this and that. And I feel that's to a certain extent. I feel like when many entrepreneurs get that house or get the car, everybody has that one goal when they start a business. Oh, if I have money, I would get this, or I would have this lifestyle. A lot of entrepreneurs can hit that goal and they stop growing, right? They stop evolving, they stop building for the future. They start resting on their laurels, they start leaning back and thinking, I've already put in the work, I put my time in. That's the #1 killer of any business. I've put my time in. Because now you're looking at what you did versus what you're doing to get your business to where it needs to be in the future. But also they stop growing in their personal life because they feel like they've made this money, they have this lifestyle, so now they don't need to be as healthy. They start to gain weight. You see with athletes, right? Athletes that used to be so ripped, so in shape, the best elite of the elite, they're retired for 18 months and they have kind of a beer gut, beer belly, right? They start naturally losing their hair. It's because their brain is like, it's so decaying so quickly because they've lost their purpose. They're not growing anymore. Like I see in so many videos, if your business isn't growing, it eventually is going to die. Because most people, again, entrepreneurs or athletes, they grow, they have a mission, they have a goal, they have a purpose. And then once that stops, everything in their life stops. They become a little bit lazy, lethargic. They're not as invested in their relationship. They're not invested in their faith, but they have the money, right? They have the lifestyle. So naturally the distractions find their way into their life. Sports gambling, casino, going to the bar, talking about the good old days. Whereas, again, the #1 success secret is constantly evolving, constantly growing, to change, to strategize, look at the future and think, where is my business going to be in 5 years? Where is it going to be in 10 years? And what can I do now to get it ready for that point? Jeff Bezos, he said so many times that the quarter that he had, let's say right now, he worked on 3 or 4 quarters ago and vice versa. Next year, the next 2 years is because of the work he's doing today. And so most entrepreneurs, they reach that goal, they have a little bit of comfort, and then that comfort leads to inaction, it leads to stopping growth, stopping innovation, and their businesses and their life naturally starts to get a little more, instead of growing, they start to get a little more neutral. And if you're in a hospital, that means that you're dead, right? And so the #1 thing is to not only grow your money, to grow your business, you need to improve your family. Look at your family, look at your faith, look at your health, and think, if I maybe focus this season of life on growing my business and it's growing really well, I need to reassess and maybe focus on my family, my relationships, wife, kids, dog, whatever it may be, parents. Focus on your faith, focus on, how much are you volunteering? How much are you tithing? How have you gone on a missions trip lately, right? And so look at your faith, look at your family, look at your health. There's so many business owners, again, athletes, they, make all this money, they lose their purpose, they start doing nothing but drinking and eating McDonald's. Right? And so even if you're not at that point, even if you're still growing your business, don't just grow in that aspect of your life. Look at every key area of your life. And naturally, the #1 killer of success is distractions. Like I said, a lack of focus, a lack of purpose. So once you have your mindset on grow, change, evolve, business, family, money, wealth, health, everything, you naturally don't have time for distractions because you wake up and you're like, I got to do this, for the house. I got to do this for my wife. I'm going to do this for my business. I got to work out. I got to eat healthy. I got to make a smoothie, whatever. But you have all your things planned out because you're growing, you're changing, you're doing things differently, right? You're taking it to the next level. But if in your life you're around people that are kind of saying, oh yeah, I'm good. I put in my time on my job. I'm just going to chill and kind of lay back for the next 30 years. And you need to run away from them, not walk away or crawl away. You need to get away from them because eventually you're going to be in the same place. And so again, the #1 secret for success, especially for leaders and entrepreneurs, is to constantly think about growing and not just about money, not just about your wealth or your business. Focus on your entire aspect of what's important in your life and invest time. If you can invest time to get a new client, you can invest time to get flowers for your wife or do something nice for your husband, or take your kid on a play date. A lot of people are very selective with their time and where you put your time and your money, that's usually where people get the results that they want to get. But don't just do it for your business. Grow and change in every area of your life. And looking back, 30, 40 years from now, you might comment on this video and be like, thank you, Alex, that changed my life. And that just changed the way I think about things. A lot of my clients, they're 50, they're 60, even 70 years old. They're older than me. They have a lot of wisdom. And so I'm just sharing what I've learned from my clients and the people I've been around. Comment below what you feel like your biggest distraction is and your game plan for changing that or removing it from your life. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.